What's up, potty people, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a bit different. Today we're going to be doing a more discussion, opinion-based video. And I actually asked you guys in a community poll a while back if you would like to see more of these videos, like more opinion-based, like commentary type videos. And I think it was like almost 80% of you, if not more, said that you would like to see that integrated into my normal content. And I've just kind of been simmering on the idea of doing that. Like I'm kind of leery of going that direction because like I like keeping my channel more beauty focused. Like that's what I started doing, that's what I'd like to end doing. It's kind of tricky. Like whenever you start getting more opinion based, you start attracting a more negative audience sometimes, and I really don't want to do that. But there's also a transition in the community as far as what people want to see, and I feel like creators and viewers they don't really know what direction that's taking. I don't really feel like creators know what viewers want, but at the same time, it's pretty obvious that, you know, based on the views and stuff of other videos, that commentary videos are very, very popular in the moment. So today's video is just kind of a test just to see if you guys like this style and just to see if I like it. Like, do I enjoy sitting down and talking about this kind of stuff? But today I want to talk about the new JACLYN Hill Cosmetics launch and JACLYN Hill Cosmetics as a whole, and whether or not I feel like we should be supporting it at this point. So in order to do that, I will have to kind of go back in the past and talk about some things that happened in round one. It may seem irrelevant now. I mean, it's not irrelevant, but as far as like hot topics and current events, it kind of is. But considering her launch is coming up this week, I do think it's important to talk about being a smart consumer. This is not going to be a public bashing video. This is not going to be a personal attack against JACLYN Hill. I'm going to give my opinions on her to a degree, but I will not get malicious. I have no malicious intent in doing this. I think that we all need to be informed consumers, and I feel like if you have an audience, like if you have a channel, you need to do something good with. Like, you need to inspire people to be better. So if you do end up liking this video and if you want to see more like it, then make sure you give it a thumbs up. So while we're talking about it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you do like this style of video, or if you think you will like this style of video, just so I know if I should do more of these or not, if it's something that you guys are even interested in. And go ahead and subscribe to my channel, turn your bell on, you know, join my family, do the whole shebang, and let's just get into it. So back in May of this year, she released her first product, which were lipsticks. So I think there were 18 shades, and they were all nudes, and the whole premise behind it was that it was supposed to be the perfect nude for each skin tone. So it was very inclusive, but I mean, I gotta be honest, before everything blew up, before like shit hit the fan, I wasn't very intrigued by the products. Like, the nudes weren't anything special to me. I love nude lipsticks. Like, I'm a nude lipstick fanatic, but I didn't see one shade that really stuck out to me. Like, I didn't see one that was so unique that I was just like, oh my god, I don't have anything like that. I need that in my collection. But she did say in the video, and you can go back and watch all this stuff, I'm pretty sure she still has everything up, but she said, you know, I want you to leave here and feel like all of your questions were answered. Like, I want to answer all of your questions in this video so that you're not confused. And to be honest, I left pretty confused. Like, you know, completely taking away my opinions on JACLYN Hill. Like, I actually used to be a pretty, like, not a huge supporter. Like, I've always supported JACLYN Hill to a degree. I think she's an amazing tutorialist and teacher when she actually does upload. And whenever I watch her videos, I learn something new. Like, I feel like she's very, very knowledgeable, and I've always respected her as a makeup artist. But to me, I just felt like the video was kind of sketchy. Like, she didn't show up close the swatches of the lipsticks. She didn't really talk about the formula a whole lot. Like, it was almost like she didn't really know a whole lot about it. I feel like I didn't know anything about the products themselves. Like, I feel like I knew more about how hard she worked and how much of a perfectionist she is. And plus, I've been leery of supporting anything that she does because I just feel like everything she's had her name attached to has been surrounded by chaos and controversy. And I do think a lot of these things that have happened have been out of her control, but it's things that don't really happen to other people. I just decided to sit the first one out. So fast forward to the launch, and I'm sure you guys know the ending of this story. There was a lot of stuff in these lipsticks. A lot of foreign objects and contaminants. And, you know, people pretty much across the board were finding like fuzzies and hairs in their lipstick formula that was actually embedded into the formula itself. People were finding metal and plastic shards. People were seeing like a weird bally texture that was just kind of bizarre to see in the lipstick. And I really didn't like the way she handled it. She was very condescending throughout the entire process. She ghosted and like blacked out all of her social media for a while. Which I kind of understand because it's like, okay, something's got to give. I can't, like, you can only take so much backlash. So, I mean, I do kind of understand her leaving for a little while. It was probably better, like, for her mentally, like, for her mental health, it was probably a good idea for her to just take a step back. She did make a couple of videos kinda, somewhat, sorta, not really talking about the issues. She didn't really answer anything. She didn't really address any of the contaminants that were found, aside from the fuzzies, which they weren't just fuzzies, they were hairs. People were actually pulling the hairs out of their lipstick, like long hairs. That's not something that's off of a cotton glove, even if that's what they did use. She didn't even actually call the things that were in the lipsticks contaminants. Like, she refused to call it that. And I guess that's just a PR move. Like, I'm sure people were telling her, like, don't call them contaminants. Like, don't fall into that. And I feel like whenever these influencers get PR teams, that's kind of when they start going downhill. Like, that's when you start losing control, and you're being pulled in too many different directions, and you can't make your own decisions. But the one thing she said that threw me over the edge, and I lost all trust for JACLYN Hill, and that is when she claimed that her lab, which is the best cosmetic lab in the US, used white cotton fuzzy gloves to avoid fingerprints on the silver packaging of her lipsticks. You can't make this stuff up. Actually, you can, because she did. Literally every field in every industry uses those like blue nitrile gloves. Like, you'll see them everywhere. Crime scene investigators, like detectives, FBI, police, they use them for the purpose of avoiding fingerprints and avoiding cross-contamination. The medical field uses them. Literally, there's no one that doesn't use them, and the purpose of using those blue nitrile gloves, or just nitrile gloves in general, is to avoid cross-contamination and to avoid fingerprints. JACLYN Hill has had probably the most experience of any influencer when it comes to collaborating with brands. And I mean that in a good way. She has collaborated with more brands than any other creator that I can think of. And a lot of people kind of trashed her for this. Like, whenever people are talking about, you know, why it took so long, why did it take 7 years for you to come out with your own brand? You know, you can't say no to these brands when it comes to collaborations. You're just money hungry, you're greedy. I think it was actually a really smart move business-wise. Whenever you collaborate with a brand, it is 100% profit. You put forth no money whatsoever. It is their labs, it is their team, it is their employees, it is their bank account. Like, it's just free money for you. So you can put forth all this money and experience and knowledge that you've learned along the way into creating your own brand. So I actually think it was a really smart move to, you know, do all the collaborations that she did. Regardless of how well they went, I think it was actually really smart. So you cannot lie and play dumb and act like you didn't know any better. And you can't act like you haven't seen it before, because as someone that did collaborate with so many brands, I know she actually wasn't in the labs creating stuff. Like, whenever you collaborate, you're just like testing samples and swatching and trying stuff for a little while. Like, you're not in the labs formulating stuff. But I'm sure that she visited labs. I'm sure that she saw the ins and outs and had more inside knowledge of this stuff more than anyone could have. So to me, whenever she said that, I lost all trust in JACLYN Hill. And I've really gone back and forth with that, because she is very, very good at manipulating. And again, this is not a personal attack on her, but it is what it is. Like, she is a very, very good manipulator, because she can pull you in. Like, if you don't have any outside influence whatsoever, like if you don't get on social media and if you don't read other people's opinions on stuff, she sucks you in, and she makes everything she says very, very believable. But I am not a diehard stan for anyone. I think that's extremely dangerous and toxic, and that's how cults are created. I mean, let's just call it like it is. Like, that's how cults are created. But yeah, she did make a couple of videos, and in those videos, I don't know if she was just trying to not get emotional, because she has said before that whenever she gets emotional, people attack her for that. So I don't know if she was just being kind of hard and more cold, just so she didn't seem like she was making it all about herself. But in those videos, she was very defensive. She downplayed the entire situation and discredited the people that had issues. It doesn't matter if it was 5,000 people or 5 people. These are not like prominent issues in this industry. This is not stuff that happens all the time. These are very, very rare occasions, and they should have happened. Like, she may have apologized. I honestly don't even remember her apologizing like super sincerely or genuinely. Like, it was kind of just like a PR move. I don't know. Like, it didn't feel very sincere to me. But, you know, she was basically like, I'm sorry, but just know this isn't happening to a lot of people. This is a very small percentage of people that are receiving their lipsticks. Most people love their lipsticks. Again, you're discrediting everyone that has these issues. It doesn't matter if it's 1% or 100%. It shouldn't be happening. And then she would say, I take full responsibility for this. I listened to the wrong people. And that's not taking full responsibility for it. I don't care if you listen to the wrong people or not. It's your name. It's your brand. It's your money. And most of the things she couldn't even really give a reason to. Like, it was just like, I'm going to find out from this person. Like, I'm going to have to ask questions and figure out, why don't you know this stuff? Like, why do you have to ask anybody? This is your brand. This is your name. You're head of everything. How are you not that? Like, how are you not more hands-on than what you are? And I've seen people that are just like, leave her alone. Like, everyone makes mistakes. She's not perfect. Like, she deserves a second chance. And that's one side of the argument. But to say that, everyone makes mistakes, like, stop falling back on that as an excuse. Like, that is such a crutch for people. Everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect. And I think she used that one too. Everyone, all these people do when it comes to something that they've done that's horrific. And it's just like, yeah, you're right. No one's perfect. Everyone does make mistakes, but this is a ginormous mistake that should have been made. It could 100% have been avoided. If you keep making excuses for people, especially when it's a pattern, like if it happens once, it's a mistake. If it happens twice, it's a choice. She said one time, like, people are just telling me that I should just let this just blow over and just not talk about it, but I just can't do that. And once again, it's always making herself out to be the hero. Like, she's a fighter for the people. Like, she's a fighter for her audience. And obviously you're not. So jump forward to now, and she's coming out with round 2 of JACLYN Cosmetics. So she's got 3 different highlighting products and then some brushes. So she's got a loose highlighter, a pressed highlighter, like a palette, like a quad, and then she's got like a highlighting, finishing, setting powder type product. I do feel like something like this would have been more fitting to come out with like a couple of years ago when highlighters were bigger. I feel like highlighter, like that age of highlighters, kind of dying out just a little bit. Like, people still love them, but I don't feel like a super blinding, blingy highlight is as on trend anymore. And honestly, whenever she first came out and said that something's happening and it was going to be happening this month in November, I was just kind of like, oh my God. Again, I don't feel like reliving this. Like, I don't feel like my entire news feed becoming JACLYN Cosmetics again. But I got curious and I did watch Raw Beauty Christie and Kathleen Light's videos on the collection, and I mean, they look pretty good. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got weak and I kind of wanted them, and I kind of came to the side of, well, maybe I should just take one for the team. Like, someone's got to review it. But I have strengthened up and I have finalized my decision, and I'm firm in that at this point in time, I do not feel like any of us should be supporting JACLYN Cosmetics. There are two sides of the argument. There's one side that's mostly from her diehard stans that feel like, leave her alone. Everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone deserves a chance at redemption, and, let her try again. And I agree with that to a degree. Like, I do feel like everyone deserves a chance to redeem themselves and to do better, and you can't just go around knocking people down with a stick just because they messed up one time. I mean, it's been a little more than one time, but I do feel like people deserve a second chance for the most part. But there are two main reasons why I feel like none of us should be supporting this. Like, I think that you would almost have to be a fool to support it because of these two reasons. Number one is how she behaved in the first debacle. I don't feel like anyone ever received a heartfelt apology, and it was almost like it was an inconvenience to her. Like, ugh, why is this happening to me? Just discredited so many people and just didn't own up to her mistakes and to fully take responsibility. You can't say, I take full responsibility, this is my wrongdoing, and then say, but I'm firing a lot of people and I listened to the wrong people. No, that's putting the blame on other people. Like, she threw a lot of employees under the bus. She threw the lab under the bus. She threw people she listened to under the bus. And the thing is, it could have been fixed. Like, she could have redeemed herself for so many more people if she had just come out and been transparent, which she was not. She was not transparent. She was not honest. She acted like she was, and she just proved herself to be negligent and just out of the loop on everything that has her name on it. I would have been so much more willing to forgive and forget if she had been transparent, if she just flat out apologized. Like, if she had truly taken responsibility and had been transparent about the numbers and the timeline. And something else that was just like, oh my God, what are you doing? There were two things she said, and they kind of contradicted each other. So one time on Twitter, I think, she said that she was just cleaning house. She's going to fire a bunch of employees and just rehire a bunch of new ones, and she was just going to start from scratch. And then in another breath, she said that she was getting a whole new lab. My understanding is that the employees belong to the labs that you hire out, like, that you contract out. The lab hires and fires people. You have no control over that as someone that just contracts out a lab to work for you temporarily or however long you decide to work with that lab. So it was like, which one is it? Are you getting a new lab completely, which is what she should have done? Or are you just gonna be telling us this lie that you're firing all the old lab workers and you're just gonna get new ones? You're gonna hire your whole new crew. Because that doesn't make any sense. You don't have that control. So that's reason number one. She did not handle it properly at all. Reason number two why I feel like we should not support this new brand is because that happened only 6 months ago. Everyone in the makeup industry has come out at some point and has talked about how long it takes from manufacturing to production, all of it, like the entire production of makeup. Everyone has come out and said that 9 months is minimum. And these are 3 separate products on top of brushes. Last time it was just lipsticks. Like it was one lipstick formula with like 18 different shades. These are several products in this launch. So that tells me that production was most likely happening whenever the first debacle happened, and that she's most likely using the same lab. I'm not sure. This is just my theory about it because it doesn't make sense how you could find a new lab, like even researching a new lab, like going to different labs and, you know, walking around, talking to people. Like she must have just made like a split decision on who she was going to go to if she did change labs. Now, I didn't watch her release video. I didn't watch where she talked about anything. I will at some point, but honestly, I just feel like I'm not going to gain anything from watching her talk about her products because I can't trust her. Like, I feel like there's no point because I don't believe her anymore. But my whole theory as to why round one happened, like why it was such a debacle in the first place, I think it all boils down to neglect. You know, some people were saying that, you know, she knew this was happening. Like, she knew there was contaminants. Like, she did this on purpose just to release the old batch because, you know, a lot of people said that these lipsticks probably sat there for 7 years because she said that she worked on this brand and this product for 7 years. And whenever she said that, the first thing I thought of, like, I wasn't mad at the fact that it took 7 years. Like, take your time. Like, this is your name. Like, this is important. This is, you know, everything's on the line. But it's just like, in 7 years, you only come out with one product. Like, I expected a full face of stuff. So I think her audience started rushing her. I think they started getting impatient. She shouldn't have said anything. Like, she should have even came out way back when and said that she was creating her own brand because, you know, people are just anticipating it. And then there were a few times I think that she did kind of hint that it was coming soon, like it was coming the next year or something, and it never happened. So I think people just kind of started getting tired of the hype and then being let down. But I think she started getting anxious. I think she started letting all of the impatience of other people get to her and she started stressing out. I think there was a lack of testing. I think there was a lack of actually being hands-on and actually being there, like being present. There was obviously a big lack of sanitation and hygiene control. Like, no one was checking that. I don't feel like she involved herself enough. I could be wrong. I'm not JACLYN Hill. Only JACLYN Hill knows exactly what happened, but we're never gonna get that full story. I think that they started production early on, and I'd say a lot of these things just sat there and got old. I think a lot of things that, like the mold and the textures and stuff like that, that was probably due to just sitting there for too long in the warehouse. Whoever guided her to go to this lab was misguiding her. And, you know, even Makeup Geek came out and said that it's very well known in the industry that you don't go to this lab, that there have been issues, like the issues that people were seeing with these lipsticks were seen, like other brands had seen them before. It just seems like she didn't listen to the right people. She trusted the wrong people and she didn't do enough of her own research. Like, it blows my mind because she's had so much experience with working with other brands. I don't understand how she could have let this go and let this happen. I think she's had way too many hands in the fire for way too long. And whenever you have too many hands in the fire, you can't give anything 100%. Like, you can't get anything your all because you're being spread way too thin. So although I do feel like all these collaborations that she's done over the years has been a smart move business-wise, I don't feel like it's benefited her brand because she couldn't give all of her focus to her brand. And I think, you know, that was what was most important. And I do think she's got a horrible PR team that's misguiding her. The things that she says, I mean, it's obvious that they're PR scripts. Like, they're things that PR, you know, these people are telling her, like, don't say this, act this way, don't do this. Like, she isn't being genuine anymore because she is like a puppet on a string. The products are extremely beautiful, and I hope that this time around it's successful for her. I hope she makes back what she lost from the first round, and I hope that she learns from this experience, and I hope that she has corrected her mistakes from the first time. Again, I'm leery about that being the case because it's been such a short amount of time. It's only been 6 months. It's kind of like putting your kid in a timeout and saying, okay, I want you to sit there and think about what you've done. And I just don't feel like she's had enough time to sit and think about what she's done. I'm sure she's doing it probably to try to break even, because I'm sure she lost a crap ton of money. I'm sure she lost millions. I mean, it's all her fault, but I mean, it probably hurt her a good amount whenever that happened. So I'm sure she's looking at it as if she puts out something around the holidays, it'll kind of help her. There may be absolutely nothing wrong with these highlighters, and they look beautiful. They really do. They actually do appeal to me. It's so important to keep in mind that to be a smart consumer, you have to remember that you vote with your dollar. We can't be shallow and just like throw it up and say, you know what, the highlighters are really pretty and I think I really enjoy them, so I'm just gonna forget about all that stuff and just, you know, let her live, let her have a second chance, and just be mindless to her bad behavior. And I know that we've held on to the mentality of makeup isn't that serious, and makeup itself isn't, but the industry as a whole, it kind of is. It's very easy for us to be taken advantage of, and there's a lot of like schemy, weird, like sketchy business that goes on in the industry. And we can't just say, oh, makeup's not that serious, get over it. But, you know, on one hand, it kind of is. It is sad that people overanalyze JACLYN Hill, but it's also sad that it's gotten to the point where people feel like they have to do that. For the most part, people are pretty validated in their concerns because so many other things have happened. Like, it's been a pattern of chaos with JACLYN Hill's products, like with things that she's attached her name to. I really try to look at all points of view whenever I go into something. Like, whenever I'm analyzing an entire situation, I really try to be empathetic. Like, I've always prided myself on putting myself in other people's shoes and trying to feel what they feel. And I do feel like a lot of the hate that she's received has been blown out of proportion. I do think that a lot of it is very uncalled for. And to revert to attacking someone's personal appearance, like her weight or her looks, to try to validate your opinions on her, it is extremely uncalled for and just wrong. There are so many things to actually be frustrated with when it comes to JACLYN Hill, and things to complain about that are actually validated. And I've seen a bunch of accounts with, you know, like with a face of hers that's, you know, she's making like a funny looking face or something, and they're just like mocking accounts. Like, they're literally just harassment accounts. It's just bizarre to me. Like, this world, I don't know what we've come to. It's disgusting. Look, I'm not such a cold, hardcore, bitter, hateful person that I refuse to accept anyone's emotions, even if it, you know, affects other people more, because it did affect her. Like, it severely affected her brand and her name. She's talked about before, you know, how she's basically supporting her family and stuff, and I think that's very commendable. You know, I don't know how she is as a person. Like, she seems like she's actually a really good person when it comes to her family and friends. Her social media persona, that's a little iffy to me, but I truly feel like as a person, she's probably a damn good person that would probably give you the shirt off her back if you really needed it. You know, she's talked about retiring her mom and, you know, helping her family and stuff, and I respect that. It makes me sad that through all this success, she's kind of lost her way a little bit. And I don't know. I hope things look up for her. I really do. I hope that she turns everything around, and maybe one day she'll be more transparent. Maybe she'll just be like, you know what, I'm taking this wall down. I'm not gonna say that I'll never support the brand, that I'm just completely writing her off and that she has no redemption in my eyes, but at this point, it's just too soon for me to feel comfortable with supporting her brand with my dollar. I just feel like at this point, it would be condoning bad behavior. And, you know, you cannot support JACLYN Hill Cosmetics and still be civil and still be a good person about it and still be kind. So what are your all's thoughts? Let's start a discussion, a civil, kind discussion in the comments below, which I know you guys will. And, you know, what are your thoughts on it? Do you feel like we should just get over the first debacle and just, you know, let her have a second chance and let her try to prove herself again? Or do you feel like it's too soon? Do you feel like not enough time has passed for her to learn from her mistakes and to correct them? And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you found it enlightening and thought-provoking and inspiring in some way, and hopefully I am helping you to become smarter consumers. I don't know. But yeah, if you want to see more videos like this, you gotta let me know, because I don't know if you guys actually want to hear my opinions. I would love to share my opinions. I'm a very opinionated person. I'm very blunt, and I have a lot going on up here in my globe. So yeah, if you want to see more, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and comment below what you want to hear me talk about. Subscribe to my channel and join my YouTube family. I would love to have you guys here, and I will see you guys in the next one.